Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Trevor here, bringing you the next episode of my Barclays Premier League review series, and this time around we are reviewing the matches that were played in game week 8, the feature being Manchester City versus Newcastle, a game that finished 6-1 to Newcastle. I just couldn't believe it. Sergio Aguero becoming one of the few players that have scored 5 goals in one BPL game, along with Berbatov, Defoe, Shearer, among others. I can't remember the others. There was one or two more. But Manchester City obviously went 1-0 down in this game, to, I don't know who scored it now. Mitrovic, I think it was. Very well taken goal for Newcastle. I was hoping when they scored that they were going to do what they did to Chelsea last week, but a fantastic performance from Manchester City nonetheless. Newcastle, when City equalised, Newcastle just totally crumbled, and obviously lost the game 6-1. City were unbelievable, unstoppable as well, and obviously they sit top of the Premier League for yet another week of games, and obviously Aguero scoring 5, and then De Bruyne scoring that lovely scoop to volley over the top of Tim Krul. That was a good goal out from De Bruyne. And Manchester City I couldn't quite believe it myself, you know. I mean, I got Aguero in my fantasy league team, so he got me a nice 50 points, including my captain. So he got the double points, so I was happy nonetheless. But Manchester City were absolutely phenomenal in that game. And obviously next up, and we'll get on to the upcoming fixtures at the end of this episode, but next up, City have Bournemouth home, so couldn't get any easier, to be brutally honest with you. In terms of the other games played on the Saturday, Crystal Palace played West Bromwich Albion at home and won it 2-0 in the day's early kickoff. Palace picking up from pretty much, I think where they left off. I think Palace beat Watford 1-0 away last time out. So this 2-0 win that they got against West Brom, who are another team that are crumbling under the pressure, and they picked up the 2-0 win. Alan Pardew working wonders at Palace, and they're doing very well, coming up against Tony Pulis, who obviously was a Crystal Palace manager before Pardew. Stoke played Aston Villa, beat them 1-0 away. Not much I can say on that. Villa obviously sitting bottom of the league, sitting near enough the bottom of the relegation zone. And Stoke came out the better side. Bournemouth versus Watford, two of the promoted clubs going head to head. Bournemouth won, Watford won, and Watford's equaliser was just as easy as you like, really. What a nice goal that was from Aguero, by the looks of it on the game there. But going back to the real life matches, Bournemouth, I felt should have got more than a draw out of the game. You know, I think the defending and goalkeeping for Watford's equaliser was poor. I'm sure most of you will agree. I reckon both Bournemouth and Watford will stay up this season. I really do. I think all three promoted teams will eventually. But obviously the next team, the other promoted team, were Norwich. They lost 2-1 at home to Leicester. Leicester doing absolutely phenomenally well this season compared to what happened to them last season, even though they'd only just come up from the Championship last season. But very, very well done by them. And they're just scoring goals and winning games. I mean, where are they sitting in the league at the moment? They're sitting... Oh, it doesn't tell me. Okay, it doesn't actually tell me. But I think they're sitting in the top half. And that's... you'd think Claudio Ranieri would like, really, you know, trying to get Leicester up the league and get them nice and stable in the league, at least. Sunderland drawing 2-2 at home to West Ham, taking that 2-0 lead. Dick Advocat, obviously, being one of the two departures that happened at the weekend. The other one we'll get onto in a minute. But I was pleased for Sunderland that they managed to get the 2-0 lead that they got themselves into. Because of the way they've started this season. And then West Ham just fight back and get the draw. And I think West Ham, being in the form that they've been in recently, obviously beating Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City in the opening weeks, I felt they should have got, really wanted them to really go and push for a winner. The only other game played on Saturday was the late kick-off. Chelsea at home to Southampton. And we take a lead in the 10 minutes, thanks to a lovely free kick from William, the best one he's scored yet, because he obviously scored 4 free kicks in his last 4 games. Obviously, and I just couldn't. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan, as you guys know. I'm embarrassed for the team's performance, that how we started the season, where we're sitting in the league, and all the rest of it. But I felt when we got that 1-0 lead, all we had to do was just stick together, defend it, attack, and then extend that lead, get ourselves into a more commanding position, game over. Simple as that. But then Southampton decide to bounce back yet again through 3 pieces of very, very poor defending. Ivanovic and Cahill at the fault for the 3 goals. I'd love to know what Mourinho is thinking. Still playing Ivanovic, because according to Mourinho, Ivanovic is still one of the best right backs in the world, considering he was skinned all over. He was literally skinned against Swansea by Montero, and he was skinned against Manchester City, and it was skinned against Porto, and he was outplayed against Southampton at the weekend. And I keep saying I want Ivanovic dropped. I prefer to have Aspilicueta at right back, and then our new man Baba Rahman coming in at left back. That's what I do. But we've got Aston Villa at home after the international break, and I'm just hoping that we can up our game for that one, because losing that would be absolutely diabolical. Into the 3 games played on Sunday, the early kickoff being the Merseyside derby. Everton at home in this one, and ended 1-1. You know, there was a couple of bust-ups between. I can't remember who it was between, but there was a couple of bust-ups and a couple of yellow cards. You know, the typical derby drama that you get. But I think 1-1 was a fair result, and as a result, obviously, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do, it's obvious, but Liverpool obviously sacked Brendan Rodgers, so he was the second departure of the season following Dick Advocat's resignation at Sunderland. And they've said that, if we're going to sign players, it needs to be through the manager, and Jurgen Klopp, former Dortmund manager, of course, is the right man for that job, and I think he is. I'm just reading this on the BBC Sport website just now. Liverpool want Klopp in by Friday. Now that is interesting. So that means he's very close to actually get the job. Moving on to the 4:00 games, Arsenal played Manchester United at home. Another one of the big ones, and the scoreline finished 3-0 to Arsenal. 3 goals in 20 minutes for the Gunners. Manchester United were outplayed. They just could not handle the pace that Arsenal have going forward, and it was just I expected a better performance, to be honest. Obviously, it's a heavyweight clash, as we all know. Arsenal obviously have dropped a little bit of form due to their Champions League progression that they have failed to make. But United, on the other hand, obviously United are in form. obviously in the Champions League, despite losing to PSV on the opening week. Obviously beat Wolfsburg at home in the Champions League recently, and then they go and get thrashed. But you know, it happens, and like, they just couldn't handle that pace. That's all I'm going to say on that one. The final game, though, was Swansea versus Spurs, a game that ended 2-2. Harry Kane scoring an own goal, not a goal of his own, an own goal. A pretty spectacular one, really, from the corner, and fires it into his own net. The two Spurs goals came from Christian Eriksen, two lovely free kicks from him, very well taken. And Andre Ayew scoring the other goal for the Swans. But, you know, a very entertaining game. Good lot of highs, and Swansea will be pleased about that, considering what they've done recently, obviously being knocked out of the Capital One Cup recently. But the next round of games that we've got after the international break, the early kick-off on Saturday the 17th of October is Tottenham versus Liverpool at White Hart Lane. Then we have Chelsea versus Aston Villa at the Bridge, Palace versus West Ham, Everton versus Manchester United at Goodison, City versus Bournemouth at the Etihad, Southampton versus Leicester, West Brom versus Sunderland, and then Watford take on Arsenal in the late kick-off at Vicarage Road. On Sunday, there's only the one game, Newcastle versus Norwich at 4 o'clock at St James's Park, and on Monday night it's Swansea versus Stoke at the Liberty. So thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will see you in the next episode after the international break. See you later.